Hello everyone. My name is Pavan Sai and I'm Internet Foundation for Democratic Reforms. So today our discussion is about the dharnas that are happening in Telangana. So generally if you look at the major challenges that our economy has, it's basically the more priority nowadays was unemployment or unskilled force. So looking at the current situation in Telangana about the government job notification and the postponement of exams, there is a difference of opinion in the demands that the unemployed youth have in Telangana, and also there are criticisms that the political parties are inciting the people about the demands and all of that. So today we have Dr. Jayaprakash Narayan sir with us for a discussion about the unemployed youth and the skill that they require. Namaste sir.
Namaste, Pawan.
Sir, I just have a two-part question initially, sir. Sir, why is it the unemployment always being revolving around the government jobs? And there are political parties that are always trying to cheat the people, telling them that the government jobs are the only solution and they are there for releasing the notifications, posts. Is it the only solution for addressing the unemployed youth, sir?
It's a great question, Pawan. First, let us understand how employment is generated anywhere in the world.
Yes, sir.
Supposing you employ somebody as a driver for your car. Why do you employ him? You don't employ him because he's unemployed. You employ him because you need somebody to drive your car. Either you don't know how to drive a car, or you don't want to be spending your time driving a car, instead you want to do something else while in the car. And you want somebody professionally competent to drive the car. So here what is happening? You are getting a valuable service.
Yes.
He is safely driving your car and he is taking it in a timely manner and he is relieving you of the stress and he is freeing your time. That is the value you are getting. You are paying him because you are getting that value. Supposing he does not know how to drive safely. Supposing he does not free your time or stress. He is so bad that you have to drive yourself. He will sit next to you. Supposing you are not saving anything, but actually you are losing. Will you employ him?
Definitely not.
So you employ because he is adding value to you.
Right.
That may be your time, that may be effort, that may be stress. Supposing you have a carpenter, you want him to build the cupboards in the house. Now you get the cupboards, that's the value. You need the cupboards. You cannot do yourself, or you don't have the time to do it. Somebody else is doing it. Now he is adding value to your house, to your life. And therefore, in turn, he gets employment and you pay.
Right.
So employment comes not because somebody makes you sit in a chair and gives you a salary for doing God knows what. Employment is nothing but value addition to people around you. Now, somehow in India, we created a climate and a discussion to believe that employment and what we get out of it have nothing to do with each other. If you employ somebody to take care of your farm, you are getting something out of him. If you don't get something out of him, why will you pay? How will you pay? Where will you pay from? So you are fulfilling the needs and his getting employment are the two sides of the same coin. Somebody's needs are fulfilled, somebody else is getting employment. And you look at things, Pawan, that you use every day in your house, in your hostel room, or in the office, or on your body. You take the watch, you take your shirt, you take your pen, your nice t-shirt, your jeans pant, or your shoes, or the sofa in which you sit, or the microphone that you're using. Is there any one of these things that the government is producing?
No, sir.
No. Somebody in the market is producing. Now, nobody is forcing you to buy this t-shirt or this jeans pant or this sofa. You are deciding to buy what is best for you.
Correct.
You look at the quality, you look at the price, You decide whether for that quality that price is good. You see whether somebody else is offering for the same quality a better price or for the same price a better quality. You make a judgment. So if you are satisfied, you pay. Therefore, that payment becomes income for the person who produced it, the factory, the company, and the employees. And in turn, you are getting something you value. Everything is done by the market, not by the government. So what does it mean? When most of the production, most of your needs are met not by the government but by the market, employment is created where?
In the market.
In the market. Wherever you get your goods and services from, that's where employment is generated. Now, in a country like India, 97% is that. From the food you eat, from the house you live in, from the car you drive, from the books you purchase, from the watch you wear, from the clothes you wear, all these, they account for 97%. 3% employment is in government. Why? Government does a few things. Rule of law. Infrastructure building. That also private sector builds infrastructure. Contractors build. But government arranges to make it happen, to monitor, etc. Then quality education, quality healthcare. Now, tell me, is the government doing all these things very well in the country?
No. There is a deficiency in the service that they are giving.
So, nobody in India feels that if I go to court, I'll get justice quickly, fairly, and without too much expenditure. Does any one Indian feel that way? No. So, government is not doing their job well.
No.
Now, can anybody feel that if my child goes to a government school, she will get the best education? She's a very brilliant girl, she'll get very good education. Is there any Indian who feels that way?
No.
No. I go to a government hospital, let's say Usmania General Hospital or Gandhi Hospital, and I have a problem. I'll be given very good care without any expenditure out of pocket. I'm very happy. How many people feel that way?
No one, sir.
When the rainfall is there or when you travel, the roads are excellent, rains are not a problem, traffic is not blocked, there are no flooding. I'm very happy. Is it true?
Never.
So what does it mean? Government is not doing its duty well. And yet government is employing some people, 3% of the total employees in the country. Now, they can get paid only if they provide service. That is the way it should be. But what is happening? Unlike a market, government is taking away all your tax money without your consent.
Right.
You have to pay. Whereas in the market, the fellow who produces research will not say, I get the money anyway. No, he can't say that. In government, they get the money anyway. And they're paying for themselves without providing a service. See the difference between the market and the government. In the market, they don't get money automatically. Only when you want to give, when you give, where you give, whom you give, they get the money.
Right.
And you give only when you are satisfied with their work, with their goods, with their services, and you choose the best among them. In government, you are forced to give money without satisfaction, without the goods being produced of quality, without value being given to your life. But because they take away your tax money by force, you have no choice, they think they have a right. So employees of the government, for instance, think it is their government, not the people's government. All the money that the people pay by way of tax, it is their right. That's the language they use.
Yes.
I don't blame them. They don't understand. Now, this is the background in which people are clamoring for employment because we don't understand how employment is created. There are three factors why, in particular, every young person, or at least many young persons, not every young person, many young person's dream is to get into government employment. Why? One is caste system.
Okay.
What is the caste system? Anything useful to be done with your hands is menial, inferior. Lower caste will do it. If I am upper caste, if I am superior, no, I will not do with the hands. So a sense of superiority and inferiority. There is no dignity of labor. Whereas in a sensible society, anything you do which adds value to somebody's life is worth doing.
Right.
If a plumber is not there, You cannot survive in the house for one day. It stinks. You can't go to bathroom,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
If you don't get water supply at your apartment, you can't survive for a day. So plumber is the most important person. If electrician is not there, he doesn't know, somebody is not handling the electric lines, and there is a power outage in your house, you cannot survive.
Right.
He is the most important person. So, unfortunately, in our culture, because of the caste system and hierarchies, many young people, for no fault of this, I don't blame them. That's the way we are brought up. They think some jobs are inferior, I should not do it. So, what is the notion of a job? A job is where I don't have to do with my hands. I sit there, I get a monthly salary. I'm a big fellow. There's a second reason, and that is colonial hangover. For a long time in the modern era, from say 1770s or 1750s onwards, we were governed by the colonial masters. So who were running the government? The white sahibs.
Right.
Who were the mendicants or the followers or simply taxpayers? The brown slaves. We may not be slaves in a traditional sense, but we simply are subjects. So how do you become important? When you join the sarkari. Sarkari job is all important. Whether you're a clerk or something else doesn't matter, because there is no accountability. And you are supreme, and people respect you. They give exaggerated respect. Even today in India, if you're a government official, so much of respect. Irrespective of what you do, you may be doing nothing worthwhile. You may be lazy. You may be incompetent. You may be corrupt. Still respect. Yes, there are very good people in government, wonderful people in public service. They're honest, they're competent, they're public spirited. But you cannot say everybody is so.
Right.
So the respect is because of the position, because of the colonial hangover. There is a third problem. Our half-baked socialist baggage. For a long time we said, and even today many people claim, we are a socialist country. True socialism is about equality for everybody. Equality means equality of opportunity.
Right.
No matter where you're born, your parents are rich or poor, whichever be the caste, whichever be the region, they're literate, illiterate, rural, urban, you must get an opportunity to grow and fulfill your potential. That is true socialism. What is our socialism? Protection of the government employees, protection of the organized sector, treating them as kings, put all the money into them, no accountability, nobody can sack you if you don't perform.
Yes.
So what is government employment in the popular notion? In the market, if you pay 20,000 rupees for a driver, we started with a driver. What is the market wage of a driver today?
15,000 to
15,
20.
20 of that range.
Right.
Right? You know how much in government they pay a driver?
No, sir, no idea.
Minimum 40 to 50,000.
Oh.
A teacher in a private school, unless it's a very expensive high-end school, typically the salary is how much today?
45, it's a minimum.
45 private schools.
No, private schools it's around 25,
15, 20, 25, depending on the school.
Right.
In government, typically average is 60, 70,000 rupees.
Yes, sir.
The first salary itself is 45, 50,000 rupees. So we are paying much more than the market, 2 to 3 times for most of the low and middle jobs. Except at the top level, we are paying much more. We are expecting much less.
Right, right, sir.
In a private job, you don't perform, the employer cannot pay you. Where will you pay? Government pays from tax money they have taken from you and me.
Right.
Whereas employer cannot pay, because he gets money from the people who get the services. If the people don't get services, they will not pay. If they don't pay, he has no money to pay. So put all these 3 things together, the caste system, the idea that some jobs are important, some are prestigious, some are not, colonial hangover, too much of importance to government and the women power,
Right.
and this false socialism, whereby employees are protected, paid higher wages than the market can afford, with less productivity, less accountability. So government jobs becomes a treasured thing. So when political parties or the general public talk about unemployment in India, it's not unemployment really. It is the desire for government employment where there are limited jobs. So everybody wants to get into government. So what are the political parties offering? If I get into power, I'll give you a job calendar. I will even make a law. I don't know what it means. I will have a mega DSC, whether teachers are not needed or not, I don't care. Education is not about teaching the children, it's about employing the teachers and giving them salaries. Government is not about serving the people, fulfilling the needs of the people, collective needs, like better roads, better infrastructure, better services, without corruption, speedily, or rule of law. It's about employing people and paying them. What the taxpayer, the owner gets is immaterial. This mindset has come in. So parties are responding to that. It's a very dangerous mindset. Very, very dangerous mindset, because I want the young people to understand. Just think about it. There's nothing wrong in wanting to serve in government. Maybe you want to do public service. Maybe you want to have a secure job. There's nothing wrong. You're not doing anything illegal or criminal. But if there are 100 jobs, 1 lakh people are applying.
Exactly.
Each of them most of them are spending 30, 40, 50,000 rupees for training, coaching. These are competitive examinations.
Right.
So the coaching institutions are making money. I don't blame them also, because you are asking for coaching, they are giving coaching, they are making money. But no matter what you do, how many people will be recruited in government? Only that 100. What happens to the balance 99,900?
Actually, the stats say that it's 22 lakh applicants for the Telangana alone for government posts.
Exactly. There are cases where for a few gangmen in railways, lakhs of people applied. There is one case where I think the world record in UP, I think for a small number of posts, 2 crore 30 lakh people applied. World record, 2 crore 30 lakhs is larger than the population of many, many countries. Actually, about 150 countries of the world have fewer than 2 crore 30 lakhs population. So this mania and this mistaken belief that government means employment. Government employment means no work, all wages. Where will the wages come? Who will pay? Your parents are paying. I am paying. Taxpayers are paying. What for? So that we provide services to people in return. We've forgotten all that. Now it's become government for the employees, by the employees, of the employees. Even school children talk about government of the people, by the people, for the people, Abraham Lincoln. But in reality, it's not true in our country.
So why is it that hard to sack the deficiency in the teachers? Like they can remove, the government has a power to remove the government officials, right?
See, removal is easier said than done. Even in private sector, you can't remove people just like that. It doesn't work. In government, you give too much of protection. The unions, the protection, Article 311, and a culture where most people are underperforming, some people are performing very well. In the olden days, British India and also for a generation after British left, if you are very competent, you get accelerated promotions.
Right, sir.
If you're not good enough, you don't get promotions and maybe you're removed. Today, we created a uniform mediocrity. If you function very well, there is no way of rewarding you in government. If you don't function well, there's no way of punishing you. I have known, after I joined service, a person who joined as a clerk who became a collector. Around the time of independence, he joined as a clerk. But because of the culture of accelerated promotions for competence, a clerk could rise to be an IAS officer and a collector. Today it's unthinkable.
Right.
You cannot even dream. So we killed competence, we killed hard work and merit, and everybody is now entitled to time-bound promotions and high wages, pay revision commissions. Don't ask me about the work I do. And of course, a lot of corruption. As citizens, we all know, while there are many people in government who are honest, hardworking, they're not corrupt, they efficiently function, and they work for the public good. But that is some people. Most people are either careless, they don't bother. Quite a few people are corrupt, or they abuse power. But even that apart, the central issue we have to understand, young people must understand, is jobs come from the market, from production of what is necessary for people. Jobs don't come from government and from tax money. Government needs to employ some people in order to fulfill our needs, not to give employment. And that number is no more than 3% of the total jobs in the country.
Right.
So you acquire skills and let the government create conditions for economic growth and investment and job creation. That means skills for you. Education quality for you. You fight for quality education and skills. You fight against parties. I went to school, I went to college, I worked hard, my parents sacrificed a great deal. Why did I not get good education?
Right.
Why did I not get good skills? Why am I not productive? Why am I not employable? That is the fight. Not, I have got a degree. No, make me a clerk, give me a salary. How many people can they give? And where from? At what cost? For whose benefit?
Right. So there is this data which says that the unemployment in graduates, which is increasing over 40% on year basis. So, and also there is other data given by Ministry of Commerce which says that unemployed skilling in startups specifically, like skilling them to become the entrepreneurs. So that says around 12.42 direct jobs were created based on the startups 1.7 lakh. 1.17 lakh startups were created, which directly created jobs of around 12.42 lakh jobs directly. So the question is, why are you not daring to go beyond government jobs despite various vacancies in the private sector for skilled workers? So is it
Good question. One is what we discussed. The extraction for government jobs because of the caste system and hierarchies, because of colonial hangover, and because of excessive protection on high wages without any accountability. The second is the market can employ you only when you have skills.
Right.
Supposing there is somebody who is a mechanical engineer by degree.
Right.
Now I have a car. The car is giving you trouble. What use is the mechanical engineer and his degree if the mechanical engineer does not understand what is wrong with the car and set it right? Do I hire him because he has a mechanical engineering degree, or do I hire him because he knows how to repair the car when needed?
Yes.
So oftentimes what happens? You give your son the car, ask him to set it right. He will take the car or get it towed to the mechanic. Who is he? He is an illiterate. He is trained with somebody else. He knows the rudiments. He does it. So who has skills? Who is employable? The person with those skills, though illiterate and without a degree, or the person with no skills, though with a degree on paper. So market cannot give employment looking at your degree. Market doesn't care if you're a graduate or postgraduate, particularly if graduation means nothing. Market looks for skills. What is happening in our country is, apart from the unnecessary attraction of government, most young people, they are being cheated. The education we are getting is mostly no education. We get degrees, we get 10th class certificates, we get 90% marks, first classes,
Right.
we get intermediate degrees, regular college degree or even engineering degrees, but most of them cannot be productive. And employers cannot reward you for a degree paper. They reward you for the skill you have, for the productivity you have, and if you bring value to the company and to the consumer.
Right. So it has a direct link with the education system that is there.
Absolutely. See, it's a very strange thing, Pawan. There is no other country like this. In India, the more educated you are, the less employable you are.
Right.
World over, if you are more educated, I have, say, 5 years of education, I get more chance of a job than somebody who's illiterate. In those countries, there's hardly anybody illiterate. I finished high school, 12 years of high school, I get a better chance than a dropout. Then I go to college and get a college degree, I get a better chance than a school graduate. Postgraduate even more. In India, the exact reverse is happening. If you're illiterate, you're always employed. Some work other you have. If you are only did a primary school, then you definitely almost certainly get an opportunity. You can make a living. If you finished high school, the chance is less. If you finish intermediate, your employability is even less. Graduate, much less. So the more educated you are, quote unquote, it's not real education, the more unemployed you are. It's absurd.
Right.
Education is about giving you skills, making you productive, You are capable of doing something that the society needs. Therefore, you're more employable, you're more valuable. In our country, education is making you feel I should not do many things, and the things I want to do, I have no capacity to do, I have no skills to do. It's not helping the country at all. So both sides, the lure of government employment and the absence of skills. So there are many, many companies, you ask their managers, you ask their owners, I want to employ people. I don't have skilled people.
Right.
I don't have productive people. You go to China, every employee worth his weight in gold. Because they are people with skills. They actually produce. You take, for instance, Apple started a factory here in India.
Right.
I think Foxconn or whatever, for Apple company.
Yes.
Now, what happened? It took about 15 years for the employees of this company, this factory on the outskirts of Chennai, to be reasonably productive. Even now, we're not able to match China. With all the training and effort and management techniques, even for a limited number of people in that factory, it took years and years. Now they're okay. They're sort of. That's why Apple is now slowly in India. They're ramping up production. They're improving sales, etc. So productivity, skills, ability to produce and produce efficiently at a low cost and high quality. That is the key to prosperity. That is the key to employment.
Right.
Now, even within our country, some bright young people who understood, despite the system, they somehow struggled to get some skill. They have picked up like hotcakes.
Certainly. Yes.
And on their own also, they're starting some enterprise. They're making a decent living. Now, without skills, without ability to produce anything, government is the only employer that employs. So everybody wants to go there.
Sir, how do you see at this process? Like few governments are also trying to regulate the private sector companies in giving reservations for the locals. For example, Andhra tried to give 75% reservation for the private sector companies that come into Andhra. And also Haryana, a few political parties are also voicing it out, saying that private sector jobs will
It is unconstitutional, first of all.
Oh.
Constitutional reservations for public employment. You cannot restrict the freedom of the people to do their own business, practice their own trade or profession. It is plain to legalities. Second, it's uneconomical. An employer will not invest if you put too many restrictions. An employer is investing his hard-earned money, risking his family's future. Then he is borrowing, pledging everything under the sun. And he is not a government employee who gets fat salary with or without work. He has to produce, he has to compete, he has to satisfy the customer, he has to sell. So it's uneconomical. Third, it's unnecessary.
Right.
Because in any case, most of the low-end jobs, employers only take local people. Only when the local skills are not there for the high-end jobs, you take people from wherever they are in the country. So this is a symbolic gesture to hoodwink the people, to pretend to people as if you are helping them. In politics all over the world, you indulge in empty gestures. They are not sincere, they are not necessary, they are actually negative, counterproductive. But apadharma antaru kada. So they all want to somehow please the electorate, pretend that they are doing something wonderful, and then enthuse the people, incite them or inspire them or whatever. So it's all a part of that game. It's a bad idea, unnecessary idea, and unproductive idea.
Sir, is there anything that you think the government has to, at least from now on, start changing? Then what would those solutions be for this problem?
3 or 4 things. First, encourage investment. Encourage investment. Don't make the businessman feel like he's a sinner. Don't make their lives miserable. An employer or somebody who wants to create employment is God. In a country where unemployment is a big challenge or people's aspirations are not fulfilled, anybody who creates jobs is God. Treat them with respect, welcome them, encourage them, build the infrastructure, create conditions. 2, incentivize labor-intensive industries. Now you take some sectors, take garments, you take leather industry, you take electronic goods, and many other areas like that. These are all relatively low-skilled employment that is required. You don't require fantastic skills, but you require some skills. there's a huge market. They're labor intensive. That means for the volume of business they do, they employ many more workers than others.
Right.
Encourage them, and in fact, I would go for so far as to say, government should incentivize them. I would say actually, if in a labor intensive industry you employ, let's say 1,000 people, provided you give them at least 3 years employment on average or some such thing, I give 3 months or 6 months salary as subsidy to the company. Because anything to encourage them to employ more people and encourage these sectors. For instance, there is a company called Brandix in Achyutapuram, in now Anakapalli district, earlier Visakhapatnam district, which employed at one stage 22,000 women, all local women, in garment industry. Now that is the kind of thing. Take China. China in garment sector is exporting annually $325 billion worth products. India produces as much cotton as China. Population is as big as China. We're actually 1/5 as poor as China GDP wise. Therefore, we need even more labor intensive jobs. And yet, our total exports in garment sector is about $35 billion. So China, while they're growing enormously in various high-tech sectors, high-wage sectors, high-skill sectors, they're also enormously producing low-skill goods, low-tech goods, and employing millions upon millions. Why is it not happening in India? We created very restrictive labor laws. We made doing business very painful. We treat a businessman as a sinner. The moment he employs 100 people, we make his life miserable. This compliance, that rule, this rule. We prosecute them, harass them, ask for bribes. They'll say, Babu, I don't want to employ people. So even in a poor country with enormous unemployment or underemployment and low wages, most of the industry is saying, I don't want employees, I want mechanization. I want robotics. We are forcing them, we are driving them.
Right.
And finally, encourage small town growth. Because economic growth, prosperity, modernization over urbanization. Because agriculture alone cannot meet your needs. Modern economy is equal to non-agricultural economy. Agricultural economy is necessary, it's vital for food, but it's the world economy, because in the world economy, agriculture alone is sufficient. That's all you have. Today, agriculture is necessary to eat food, but are you all content with eating food alone? We want all the wonderful things around us. That's why the GDP share of non-agriculture is now 82% in India. In many other countries, 95%. So most of the wealth and employment is outside agriculture. While agriculture must be protected, you require to give chance for all the rural people, low-skilled people, low-wage people, an opportunity in urban areas. Now, unless that urban area is local, and unless you have a support system, your family, friends, others who can bank on, unless it's close to your village or something, how can you survive with a low wage? Otherwise, the unorganized sector, the people who are leading precarious lives without any secure monthly wage, if they are forced to go to big cities, no housing, no transport, no support system, low wage, if there is a problem, their life is hell. Like COVID time when they were locked down, what happened when lakhs of people had to go back to their villages? They had miserable time. So the pattern of development, to be able to absorb a large number of low-skilled people from local rural areas. So we have to have a multifaceted strategy. It's possible, it's necessary. But parties must do the right thing. And the media must propagate the right thing. Even the media, every day we say, Public Service Commission advertisement, some job calendar, some recruitment drive, all this is very, very sad. And it is untruthful. It is misleading the youth. Because again, let me repeat, if there are 100 jobs, 1 lakh people are competing. Whether 1 lakh people compete or 2 lakh people compete in government jobs, only 100 people get the jobs. What happens to the balance 99,900 people?
Right. So taking your conversation a bit forward, like Chhattisgarh government very recently, from 2023, they are giving unemployment pension kind of thing for
Allowance or
allowance, yes. And even recently in Andhra Pradesh, we have seen that the TDP government is somehow making it to happen. So their governments now running in this direction in giving unemployed allowances on a monthly basis, like 3,000, 2,500, whatever. So what is this? Is it the way forward for
No,
addressing
see,
the
the
unemployment?
right way to do is certainly unemployed people require our help. But in what manner? Upgrade their skills
Right.
and promote job creation by incentivizing the labor intensive industry. Then connect them. The skills here and employment opportunity there. I'll give you an example. In Vizag, we acquired some 26,000 acres of land, mostly private, some government land for the Vizag steel plant. I was the special officer. There were some 11 or 12,000 displaced persons, each losing half an acre, 1 acre, that kind of a thing. Now, they were all demanding every day agitations, Rasta Roko. We are good at agitations and Rasta Roko and dharnas. That is Indian pastime, thanks to freedom struggle. So, must get employment, our children must get employment, displaced families, etc. One day, I brought the displaced families and the steel plant management together. I told the steel plant, look, you require employees. You cannot run a factory without people. And these are people who lost their lands. So they deserve consideration. Tell me, what's the problem? They said, sir, it's no longer the old era when you appoint 1,000 peons, 200 drivers, etc. We need skilled people to actually produce tea. I said, fine, it's a good point, it's a fair point, it's our money, it's our investment. Tell me, what kind of skills are required? How many people you require? Give me precise details. So they gave me a list of skills and number required for each skill, 8,000. I said, all right, I appreciate your point of view. Steel plant is now under construction, production has not started. I will train all these people and give them skills. Because definitely without skills, they can't function. It's my duty to give them skills. If they don't have skills, they don't get a job. But if they have skills, to the extent the jobs are available, they must get first priority. They said, no problem, sir. Then I told the people, I will give you training, free. You don't have to compete for a seat. I'll create special seats. I came to Hyderabad, spent 3-4 weeks going to everybody, from section officer to principal secretary, everywhere, pleading with them. I myself wrote in my hand notes and note files also. When the GO was to be drafted, I actually drafted, my manuscript is there, and then they put it into typing. So everything I did, I persuaded people. Finally, I got the seats created, additional seats had to be created. I got some stipends allocated, some money, etc. All kinds of rules are there. All that was done. 8,000 people were trained within 1 year. All 8,000 got employment in Vizag steel plant. So that is the way forward. Supposing I told displaced families, I will go to the government and fight and stage a dharna, I will give you everybody, and in those days 300 rupees a month or 500 a month. How long will you go? What will happen with that money? So give skills and encourage labor intensive industries, connect them. Definitely unemployed people require help. And even in the rich countries where the problem is much smaller and they can afford money, they do give unemployment allowance for a limited time. Right. Nobody gives for a lifetime. What do you mean unemployment allowance? And then also you say, unless you actually go for the job opportunities, and they have a system, and it's your duty, if there is a vacancy, you must go, you must offer, you must work. And after some time, unemployment allowance stops. So the idea is putting people to productive work. That is the only way it can be sustained. And more important, that's the only way human beings have dignity. Right. If I do nothing and I get money from people, I will not have dignity. If I do something of value, I am valued, my work has value, it's useful, then I have dignity. Right. So all this is short-term populism without looking at human dignity, genuine welfare of the young people, or creating employment or growing the economy.
Sir, I think we can close this video with just one message that you wanted to give for all the aspirants that they are struggling to get into some or the other government jobs. And also, if you could address a bit about the opportunities that they have in going forward.
3 things I would like to say. First is, the most important thing you can bring is skills. Skills can be technical skills. Skills can be interpersonal skills, communication skills, language skills, soft skills, but acquire them. Without them, nobody will be able to employ. Many employers tell everybody, and I hear all the time, I'm not able to find people. In a country where everybody claims to be unemployed, I'm not able to find people. Without skills, without productivity, without ability to produce something, please don't expect employment. You will not be able to employ people like that. Similarly, others cannot employ you also. Fight for that, work for that, strive for that. Some are systemic problems. We'll all try to figure out, we're working very hard to improve education, but that may not help you. You figure out how to get skills of value. The second is, you have a sense of dignity of labor. Whatever is marketable, for instance, in the olden days, haircutting was a caste occupation. The barber community did it. Today, look at the haircutting salons. I know of people who pay 12,000 rupees for a hairstyle. No, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but that's what the market says. So, it's the value you're bringing, therefore they're rewarding you. There is nothing which is inferior occupation, which is superior occupation. Everything is worth doing if it is legal, if it's helping somebody fulfill their needs. You do it better, you get more money.
Right.
Don't think of old-fashioned feudal notions. And don't think of government as the employer. We discussed that throughout.
Yes.
The third one, and the most important one, everybody in the world, including our own country, the world is fast changing. It's changing dramatically more than ever before in human history. It's been changing for a long time, but in the last 20, 30 years and the next 10, 15 years, the change is unbelievable. What used to happen in 200 years is now happening in 2, 3, 5, 10 years. And so the kind of jobs that you will do have not yet been created.
Right.
We do not even know. We only have some vague idea. So the future is with those who can adapt. That means you must have the basic skills, basic ability, basic tools and foundations. And then, depending on the situation, you must be able to adapt your skills, your knowledge to the requirements of the situation. Then you'll be employed. If you say, I got a BA degree, I got a BSc degree, I somehow want employment, your degree will not help me. Tell me what is it you can do to meet the requirements today.
Right.
So, in an ever-changing world, even if you have skills today, they may not be enough. You must acquire more skills, better skills, adapt them to changing conditions. Then the future is yours.
Right, sir. Thank you so much for your time and
Thank you.
for an enlightening discussion for all our audience. Thank you so much. Thank you.